Hi, my name is John Denton, and I'm the writer and director of Memory Lane. I'm actually one of three members of Large Arc Films. My other two members are Jeremiah Castro and Mark Palomar. Whenever we make projects or anything, it's always us three. We make sure to be included on every project from the get-go. I can't imagine making any films without them. I've been wanting to be an indie filmmaker since I was really young. I always had this vision of, just, doing these films like out of love and, a DIY budget and just really just having fun while making the films and, making them very personal. I never had the vision to want to work on huge films and work within a Hollywood set. I really just wanted to stay with that independent spirit in film. With wanting that, it comes with a very heavy price, and that is knowing that you're gonna work so much harder just to have anyone even watch a second of your film. A lot of people, they often go off to go work on bigger films like out in Hollywood. They'll move to LA and they'll work on sets as like a PA or something and move their way up. And I just basically said, no, I'm gonna write and direct my own things, and I'm gonna learn from each film. I'm gonna make some terrible movies and learn from those and keep trying until I make something that people actually seem to want to watch again. So it really wasn't and still isn't easy. You have to really, I really had to love what I was doing and have to be able to stick with it and not give up even when it gets really hard. And trust me, it got really hard. It still is hard, but it's worth it. Every day that I can know that I can make movies is, I feel like, a blessing. The thing with my film and probably all films is you want it to be very subjective, and really I always see these stories that I try to make try to be more of slice of life. You want to feel like you just jumped into just at a random time in this person's life, and you're seeing just this small portion of a bigger picture. I want it to seem as though you can figure out a whole story without having it told to you, if that makes sense. So with Memory Lane in particular, I wanted you to feel as though you understood Jess's memories. You understood exactly what they meant without having to actually know what it means. I wanted it to be ambiguous, and also I didn't want to be too on the nose with things. I wanted the audience to be able to craft their own narrative out of this. But the good thing is it seems to be pretty universal, being able to follow along with what actually is going on. So I thought that would make for a very intimate film experience for both the audience and the actors, and overall just paying attention to what's not being said and reading close between the lines. So there is always going to be that balance of fortune and luck, but I think that ultimately it comes down to what you actually love and what you feel like you are put on this earth to do. If I didn't have the drive to go make movies, then it doesn't matter the amount of luck and fortune that come into that. It's still, you need that passion in order to fuel that. It all has to kind of come together in order to see it really flourish. I moved to San Francisco when I was just turned 21, so that was back in 2010. I was living in Connecticut. I knew that I wanted to be a filmmaker from when I was about like 17, 18. And I knew that I wouldn't actually get anywhere by just staying in Connecticut. And I needed to go somewhere that was out of my comfort zone. And I got into school at the Academy of Art University in San Francisco. And I went for it. I moved out without knowing anyone. And the only thing I told myself was that we're gonna make movies. This is worth it. I threw away a whole life that I knew and I was comfortable with because I needed to take this risk and I needed to know that this was the right thing for me to do. And I would say that everything fell into place because I took those steps. Nothing was easy at all. There was a lot of very soul-crushing moments and starving, having no money, and it is a hard situation to go through, but I would totally do it all again just to know that I actually did this and followed what I love, and I still every day am so thankful to be able to be making these movies and getting to just, tell the stories that I want to tell and work with some fantastic people over each project. So fear and self-doubt is definitely something that just plagues me every day. And I'd say that it can be healthy to be able to always second guess and question everything you do because you want to be able to put yourself in an audience or a viewer's position in looking at your own work and asking these kind of questions of what does this mean? Why are you telling me this story? Why are you playing this piece of music in this scene? You want to be able to kind of understand and be in tune with the rest of your audience and just, knowing that you're putting something there for a reason and not just to look pretty. So with that, every time I make a movie, I'm always second guessing myself and I'm always fearing that people just won't get it, that it's not going to be good, and I try not to let it get to an unhealthy level, which it could, but it's very important to always be self-critical and to know that there's going to be room for improvement on the next project. Things that you don't get right the first time, you just move on, you learn from it, and you take it into the next film. So no matter what, each film is each project in general will feel like a learning experience. So you take something out of each film project you produce. So being a fan and fandom in general is definitely, of course, like there is always going to be like that one movie or source material that you are a fan of that really drives you into wanting to kind of make something similar. When I first got into film, I just, I saw the film Garden State, in which that like totally changed my view of how movies can be made and how personally you can tell a story. And that really helped me view life and cinema in general in a completely different light. Now, over the years, I've developed more infatuation with horror. The horror genre, I feel like, is just it's the genre that's just taking the most chances, that has something to say, and I even love the schlocky, just messy films because no matter what, they're original, they're unique, they have something to show. So I'm a huge fan of horror. I love Argento. I love Fulci. I love the Italian horror films. I love how it just combines this dreamlike state with just beautiful cinematography. It's just wonderfully shot. So with horror in general, I want to be able to take things that interest me within that genre and be able to learn from that and adapt it into my own work. Currently, we're working on our first feature-length film called Wendigo. We just completed a short film version of it, a proof of concept, and this was ultimately a labor of love. I really wanted to make my own horror film, that something I would want to see as a fan and audience member. I didn't want to just make something just for the sake of it because horror is big. I genuinely want to make this in order to, I want to make a film that I would go pay to see. That's the ultimate reason. As a horror film and horror genre lover, I really wanted to make something that I have been wanting to see in film, and as a fan, I would just love to see. So, Wendigo, keep an eye out for that. So we're on Instagram. You can find us Large Arc Films on Instagram and Facebook. You can also go to our website at largearcfilms.com. You can view some of our past work. You can view Memory Lane on there, and drop us a line, watch our films, and keep an eye out for future projects from us. Thanks again.